YouTube, it's Joanna Delilah again. I'm back with a video about the history of makeup, which is one of my favourite subjects because I love history. I'll watch any period drama or any documentary about any point in history, and obviously, as you know, I love makeup. I'm not going to do any makeup in this video. This is just going to be a few little facts and interesting points, and it is aimed at my students who are currently working from home due to lockdown because it's 2021. But I'll leave this up on YouTube if anyone else is interested even. But I'm going to do some separate videos showing like the main look of each of the decades, starting from the 1920s. So I'll work my way through the eras, just demonstrating the look. But I just wanted to show a few books that I've got and talk through some interesting facts. First of all, if you're a student, I would suggest, if you can, do you remember what these things are? They're made of paper, and when you open it up, they have pages inside. Very old-fashioned idea. You don't swipe them, you turn the page. Sorry, I don't mean to sound sarcastic, I'm only teasing. But yeah, books are a really good way to research things like the history of makeup. Obviously, the whole world is on Google, and that is fantastic. You can Google anything and everything. With makeup looks, what you need to watch for that though is that you might search 1920s makeup in Google Images. What you get might not necessarily be accurate to the time. It quite possibly could be someone like me or anyone, anywhere who has done, excuse me, itchy nose, sorry, that was lovely, who has done a makeup that they think is 1920s or 1920s inspired, not necessarily going to be accurate. So if you're using that as your base of research and then you go on and recreate that, what you're doing is watering down the era even more, because you're not going right from the point of accuracy. Things I'd like to look at are not so much, if you're Google searching, don't search 1920s makeup, but search something like 1920s film stars or 1920s women or something like that. And I've got some really nice books here. I don't know what the rules are in terms of like copyright of showing these. I don't know, but I'll hope for the best and I'll show you a few. But I'm not going to prolong showing any of the photos. But these are like real people from this one's the 40s and 50s. Oh, the 40s this one is. And another one here. What's this one? Hollywood Glamour from 1926 to 1945. So this is actual photos from the time, and it gives you a really good insight into what would have been, you know, popular makeup looks. Look at that, that's from 1930. These lovely thin arched eyebrows. So as I say, if you Google, which you still can do, just think about, is that a modern replica of a 20s look or whatever it may be. Very important. One of the most important things for makeup artists is to know the fashions through all of the eras, because you will use it time and time again in fashion. Often like fashion shoots might be inspired by an era, and it's important to be able to modernize the look. But of course, if you're going to modernize it, you need to know the original roots of it. All right, so that's kind of the first thing to think about where you're getting your research from. A couple of interesting little makeup facts that you might not know, or you might know. Also, by the way, I am renowned for babbling on and getting my facts a little bit muddled up. So sorry if my dates and things are a little bit off, but you'll get the gist of it. So makeup, I think I said this in my 1920s video. Makeup was, I mean, it's been around since day dot, since humans have been here. We have painted our faces in various ways. Have a look at like ancient Egyptian, right the way back then, thousands of years ago, we were wearing makeup. At the turn of the century in the Western world, so in the 1900s, at the turn of the last century actually, it wasn't really popular at all. It was frowned upon. People kind of looked down on people who wore a lot of makeup. It was mainly just for stage actresses. In the 1910s, similar sort of attitude. They would do a lot with their hair, and they would quite often wear little pieces on their eyebrows, so you could get little fake stick-on eyebrows, believe it or not, that were made out of mouse fur. So there were little things like that. They would darken their eyelashes. One of the things they used to use for that would be a mixture of soot, or even like the black bit off of a burnt matchstick, mixed with something like Vaseline, or even in some cases a little bit of melted candle wax, would coat the eyelashes. Wouldn't recommend that. It's a bit of a health and safety nightmare. But one of my interesting makeup facts is there was a chemist. Now, here's my rough date. Let's just pick, I don't know, 1913, ages ago anyway. And this chemist was inspired by his sister, who was called Mabel, and used to be fascinated by the fact that she would use matchsticks and Vaseline to coat her eyelashes, to darken them. And this chemist developed one of the first mascara products that was like in a tube. Before that, they had like flat cake mascaras that they would use. But one of the first modernish mascaras was invented by a chemist. I can't remember his name. I feel like it might have been Timothy something. Anyway, the sister was called Mabel, and she used to use Vaseline on her lashes, and that inspired the brand that we now know as Maybelline. Mabel, Vaseline, Maybelline. So that's how long Maybelline's been going. Lots of companies like that were around at that time and invented all of the products that we use today. For example, Max Factor. Did you know that Max Factor is a person's name? It's not just a random brand. Max Factor was one of the real trailblazers of the makeup industry. He invented, oh gosh, lots of different things. He was a chemist as well. Really, really clever, but also fascinated by makeup, and was one of the first movie makeup artists. And he developed the whole term makeup. He came up with the term makeup. Before that, it didn't really have a collective name. Max Factor came up with the phrase makeup. And he developed like the pan stick, which is like a stick foundation. Lots of different things that he was responsible for. One of them was human hair wefts and wigs, and false eyelashes as well. But yeah, an amazing, I would say like the father of all makeup really was Max Factor, all of the different things that he invented and developed. So yeah, fascinated by the history of makeup. I could go on and on and on. I've got another book here for real makeup buffs. You might like the story of this. This is called War Paint by Lindy Woodhead, and it's a really, really interesting story all about Elizabeth Arden and Helena Rubinstein, who are two, again, big queens of the makeup industry. I mean, what Elizabeth Arden did with her business in the early 1900s is incredible. She set up a global business. She would have like makeup, beauty salons in the UK, some in America, and that was in a time when to get from one to the other, you had to take months on a ship to travel from one business to the other. Quite incredible, really. Amazing character. And Helena Rubinstein did a similar thing with her business, and the two women absolutely loathed each other. There was a huge rivalry. And that's a really interesting story. I love this book as well, which is Compacts and Cosmetics. Now, Lisa Eldridge put me onto this one when I was round her house one day. No, I'm really joking. I've never met Lisa Eldridge. Watched her videos. I would highly recommend you watch her videos on vintage makeup, because she's an absolute authority, and her dates are accurate, not like my wanderings and ramblings. But she recommended this book, which I love, which shows a lot of it's got some beautiful pictures of makeup vintage makeup and all of the packaging. And it's a lovely, lovely book, this one. It goes right through the history. So that's a nice one. And another really great one is Gabriela Hernandez, Classic Beauty. This one's got a really nice timeline all the way through it. And it goes right the way through to kind of 60s, 70s. I think it goes into the 80s as well. Lots and lots. I could go on and on, but I am going to cut this off now. I say cut this short. But for my students watching this, you're going to be looking at each era, and I'd like you to recreate a makeup look for each era. Wait till I've done all my other videos, because I'll show you kind of where I want you to base your makeup looks. But you'll be doing a little bit of a project all about the history of makeup, finishing with like a modern recreation of one of the eras of your choice. I hope you find that interesting. It was just me rambling on, actually. But hopefully you got something from it, and it's just nice to speak to you anyway. And I will put another video out on another makeup look soon. Okay, take care. Bye.